All right, if you're on a condo or an HOA board, you know the two words that can just send a shiver down your spine. Reserve funds, right? It's a topic where the stakes are just incredibly high. One little misstep can have huge consequences for your entire community. So today, we're going to demystify this whole process.
You know that feeling, right? It's that late-night worry. You're lying in bed thinking about a sudden massive expense, like what if the roof fails or the whole parking lot needs to be repaved? And you know your community just isn't ready for it. It's a fear that pretty much every volunteer board member has, and honestly, for very, very good reason.
And look, that fear, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. As a board member, you are constantly juggling all these massive responsibilities. You've got to fund major repairs, but you also have to balance the yearly budget. And on top of all that, you have to uphold your fiduciary duty. Oh, and yeah, you're trying to do all of this without hitting residents with huge fee increases that, let's be honest, make everybody angry. It is a tough and often totally thankless job.
So, what does it all feel like? Well, ultimately, it's less like strategic planning and more like a high-stakes guessing game. You're basically trying to predict the future with not a lot of information and even fewer resources, and the entire financial health of your community is just hanging in the balance. So when boards try to tackle this problem, they're usually stuck with two pretty bad options. Neither one feels great, and both of them come with a pretty big price tag.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got the full-blown engineering study. Now, it's super thorough, no doubt, but it costs thousands and thousands of dollars, takes a long time to finish, and for a lot of smaller associations, it's just not in the budget. Then, on the other hand, what are you left with? Guessing, just hoping for the best. And that opens you up to huge risks. We're talking potential negligence claims here.
And let's be clear, there's real legal weight to this. This isn't just about bad budgeting, it's about your fiduciary duty. Just throwing a random, say, 10% into the reserves every year without any real data behind it, that often just doesn't cut it. Purposely ignoring the problem is exactly where boards can find themselves in some serious hot water.
So yeah, that's the dilemma, isn't it? You are stuck between a rock and a hard place. It feels like a total no-win situation. I mean, how are you supposed to make a responsible decision for your community when your only choices are either way too expensive or just plain reckless?
But what if there was a third option, a smarter way, a more modern approach that could give you the clarity you desperately need, but without that crazy price tag? Let's dive in and see what that path forward could look like.
I love this way of thinking about it. An early warning system. Look, the goal isn't to be a crystal ball and predict the future with perfect accuracy. It's about getting a clear, data-driven heads up that a potential shortfall is coming down the line. That gives you time to plan and act before it turns into a 5-alarm fire.
So this is that early warning system. It's called Reserve Scan, and it's a fast, data-driven assessment. The most important words right there are without the high cost or long wait. It was literally designed to fill that massive gap between the super expensive engineering study and that really irresponsible guessing game.
And, where this tool comes from is so important. It was actually created by a board member, a guy who's been in the trenches for decades. He lived through the exact same frustrations we've been talking about, and he built this solution because he genuinely gets it. This isn't some complicated tool built by engineers for other engineers. It was built by a board member for other board members.
So how does it actually work? Because a powerful tool is only useful if you can actually, use it. The whole process is designed to be super straightforward, to get rid of all those typical roadblocks that stop boards from getting this stuff done.
It's really just 4 simple steps. First, there's a quick free 10-minute call. No pressure, just to see if it's a good fit. If it is, you move to step 2. You just provide some basic info about your community's big-ticket items, roofs, paving, that kind of thing. Step 3, that info gets analyzed. And then step 4, you get a custom board-ready report. That's it. 4 easy steps to go from just guessing to actually knowing.
And this isn't just someone pulling numbers out of thin air. It's a really smart process. The data you provide gets combined with high-res satellite imagery to get accurate measurements. Then, that's cross-referenced with a national database for replacement costs. And finally, it's all projected forward using standard inflation adjustments. It's a really robust, data-driven analysis.
So what do you actually get at the end of all this? Something incredibly valuable. And listen, it's not some 100-page binder filled with engineering jargon that nobody can understand. It's a clear summary of where you stand. You get a breakdown for each major component, a 30-year funding projection chart, and the whole thing is in a professional, easy-to-read format you can take right to your next board meeting.
But honestly, the report itself isn't even the main goal. The real payoff? It's what that report gives you. It's confidence, it's stability, and ultimately, it's about getting that financial peace of mind for you and for everyone else on your board.
Okay, so this is the part that really changes the game. We're not talking about thousands of dollars here. The price is $297. That's it. A simple, flat rate that makes this kind of proactive, data-driven planning something that pretty much any association can actually afford, no matter how big or small your budget is.
And I think this pricing is so important. One simple price. No hidden fees, no trying to upsell you on something else, and absolutely no surprises. I mean, think about it. As a board member, your job is to avoid surprise costs for your residents. This whole thing is built on that exact same principle, total transparency.
So with this clarity, you can suddenly do all the things you need to do. You can show you've done your homework, which supports your fiduciary duty. You can spot funding gaps early and plan for them, which helps you avoid those dreaded special assessments. And you signal to everyone, buyers, lenders, that your community is financially healthy, which is great for property values. Bottom line, you finally get to stop guessing and start planning with real confidence.
So it really all comes down to this one question. Can you truly afford to keep guessing about your community's financial future? When you really weigh the tiny cost of getting clarity against the huge financial and legal risks of doing nothing, well, the choice becomes pretty obvious. The biggest risk here isn't taking a new step, it's staying right where you are.